understand.
They want you to tell them that you know what you want. They
So that it gives
respect that
direction.
you have the knowledge to work with them.
I have to tell you something, Jerry. You have gorgeous eyes, and I'm asking
You should see my instep.
No, I don't want to see insteps, but please stay here.
I have some
to
other
break.
stuff that I could tell you about that's pretty cute.
We'll
too.
do that right after this break.
Don't go away. More with Jerry Lewis and Dr. Ruth right after these messages.
From tropical isles to the Taj Mahal, explore the world's treasures on a journey to adventure. Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, here on Lifetime. Renowned orchestra leaders and singing stars like these made some of the single most famous records of all time.
Jerry Lewis, the great, thank you for staying here with me. Let me ask you something. What is funny?
Let me ask you something.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Not about sex.
Why do you laugh? And why do most people laugh when they mention the word sex?
That's a very good question.
Okay,
because,
I'm curious. You do it. I've watched the show enough times to see...
I sometimes blush.
Well...
I haven't managed yet to get you to blush.
Now, wait a minute. You're an analyst in the field that you work in.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy for you to talk about it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think...
I don't know how this interview turned around, but I'm curious.
I want to talk about sex, of course.
Why do you and most people laugh?
I think, and I want to know from you if it's the same in your field of expertise, the comedy. I think partly it is because of embarrassment. Mm-hmm. It gives a measure of a distance. If I can laugh first, then I can catch my breath and think about erection or orgasm or whatever. But I tell you something else, Jerry, which you, I'm sure, know. In the Talmud, in the Jewish tradition, it also says that a lesson taught and learned with good humor is a lesson retained.
You bet.
So when you make people laugh, they walk out and they remember something that you said.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's the same. Now, I don't want you or Sam or anybody to laugh in the middle of an orgasm.
No.
Because you
Don't
promised me.
Don't worry about that.
I don't have to worry. Okay.
I promise you that will not be a problem. But the laughter that you're talking about that helps you connect to the question is not unlike I see people in the human condition every day. People will say, huh, to a question just long enough for them to think of how they want to answer that.
Yes.
So it's the same kind of a guide or a guard that they use.
Right, except that in the sex or in your field, I think, when you can laugh, it's easier. When you have to say, huh, and it's a very good point, you should be a professor of philosophy. Once when you're finished
How
with
do you
comedy.
know I'm not?
Are you?
No. But I could be.
Now, once when you say, huh, you really sound like an idiot. When you laugh, who knows what's on your mind? For example, I can imagine that if I talk something about sex education or masturbation, you have had 6 sons, right?
So you know there's been no masturbation.
That's right. I know when I say masturbation that you can remember something that they have asked you or that you walked in. Tell me something about your kids.
Or I could remember this morning.
You mean, I don't ask personal questions.
No.
Tell me about your 6 sons. Ages of?
The youngest is 23 and the oldest is 41. My
You must have
granddaughter...
started when you were 10.
I started...
Very early.
Very early, yes. My granddaughter is 20, and I have a bunch of them.
Yes, how many?
4, 3 granddaughters and a grandson.
Fabulous.
And they're doing their homework.
They're doing their homework.
Yes.
Do they laugh when they see you?
If I do something funny, they will, yeah. But they also react to when I'm stern. And
I can see that in those eyes there. There can be some sternness.
yeah.
What happened to you when you were in school?
In what way?
Not what you did with the teacher. I don't ask questions like that. Or what you dreamed of doing with the teacher.
What I did in school was that I covered up for ugly. I covered up for being
You ugly?
not the smartest student. I covered up for wearing hand-me-downs, and I did it all with comedy.
For example, I do remember that there was a picture taken where you had hand-me-downs. And I liked that story very much. First of all, because I come from a background like that. For 10 years of my life, I never had a new outfit, so I can relate to that. So what you did is you actually laughed about it.
Yep, I made
in order not to cry.
I made a joke about it and brought it to the attention of everybody before everyone's attention could be brought to it.
Very smart. How did you get that smartness, even as a youngster?
I call that God's compensation. If God doesn't give you a pair of white flannels for graduation, he gives you compensation to cover for it.
Interesting. So maybe he gave me the laughter because I'm short.
Either that or the white flannel, the pants. Maybe you had them.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I don't think so. But what would you tell young comedians if they come to you, let's say like a father image? They want you to be their mentor. And if they are good, I understood already. The ones that are not good, you don't want to take the place of the others. What is the advice you give to young people who would like to go into your footsteps? I mean, it's difficult because 30-some years, right?
55.
No, 32 years in the business.
55 years.
55 years?
Yeah.
So you started really like this?
Yeah, it was 5.
Tell me what you
The
tell
only thing I tell them is to perform and make people laugh and do your thing. Years ago, we had vaudeville.
Yes.
Years ago, we had the Bourse circuit.
Yes.
We still have some of that. But there are no places truly for comedians to be bad anymore. We really have to find places for them. Now we have the comedy stores and we have improvisations and we have improvisational theater. Some of the universities around the country are teaching marvelous theater. You have to get up in front of an audience, whether it's 3 people or 3,000, and just perform.
I have a question which I've never had an opportunity to ask anybody. Do you think that a person has to have suffered in order to be a comedian?
Yes.
Explain that to me. Does it have to have some tragedy, whatever it is?
Yes.
Poverty, short
We have never
hair?
had a great comedian in film or in the history of comedy. A great comedian
Like you.
come from a wealthy family.
It's very interesting.
Never.
Very interesting.
Now, we've had some people that do comedy that have come from well-to-do families, but the comedy they do is minimal. It's thin, and it's certainly not something I can talk about specifically. But you have to really sweat before you understand the fine line between comedy and tragedy, which is not any thinner than love and hate.
Very interesting. They're asking me to ask you a question,
Yeah.
which a term which I never use, but I'll use it because
Use
that's
it.
what. Who is nuttier in terms of being a professor, you or me?
Who is what?
The nuttiest professor. I don't even understand what they're asking me to
the
ask.
Nutty Professor.
The Nutty Professor.
The Nutty Professor is a film I made in 1963. It was one of the most successful films, and a film I wrote and directed. And we are doing Nutty Professor 2 this year,
What's the Nutty
which
Professor?
I am writing and directing and starring in. And it's a character that I will let you see. I will send you a video of the first film.
Okay.
Because I'm sure when it came out, you were probably still studying for your doctorate and didn't
Correct.
have time to go to the movies.
How right. I know, and I probably wouldn't have understood it. Wait a moment, maybe I can play a Nutty Professor with you
Now,
in
look.
the new one.
No, I'm not getting no damn R ratings on my picture.
I don't always talk about these things. Sometimes
About
I talk
what things?
sex.
Aha. You see how she smiled?
Sometimes I talk about relationships. And,
Let me ask you a question now.
Okay, we have 30 seconds.
If
can
you
ask
know
us.
so much about the subject of sex, you must be some kind of an animal.
Why? I have to ask you very fast because
Yeah,
we're running out of
okay.
time. Why did they put pencils here and milk?
Well, if I would have done, I always prepare to do things. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. In this case, I didn't use it.
Because
But
you didn't
those are
need to,
props
because
that
it was interesting enough
Yes,
to talk to me.
we-
I understand.
Well, you know then why we didn't use it. For the same reason you didn't make a damn phone call.
You're right. Because if you would have been boring, I would have made a phone call. Jay, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
More when the Dr. Ruth Show continues after these messages.
At some point in their career, every doctor faces the Lazarus syndrome. Lou Gossett Jr. stars. Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Lifetime.
It's about finding someone to love.
You're so beautiful.
Danny, he is so gorgeous. But can he type?
It's about friends that get in the way.
Never call abroad more than once a week. Never, ever, ever.
You tell someone that you love them, and all you get is a headache.
I think maybe you ought to have a drawer over here.
A drawer? A whole drawer?
It's about trying to live together.
I'm moving in with Danny. I give you 2 months.
This gets in the little cracks in the porcelain, and then I get it on my fingers.
Well, it's official. I've become my mother.
What do you guys do? What, go to the zoo?
It's about avoiding temptation.
I got this broad that's dying to meet you.
Is this guy gonna marry you or what?
She's hot, hot, hot.
It's about last night. Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, James Belushi, Elizabeth Perkins. About Last Night, rated R. Special advance previews Saturday night. Check newspapers for preview times.
For the next few seconds, do not think about sex.
Can't do it, can you? Nobody can. Why fight it?
Play Dr. Ruth's Game of Good Sex.
It's the greatest invention for couples since the double date.
Zipper gets stuck. Lose 3 points.
Oh, no!
Go to the sex clinic.
This is the one board game that'll never leave you bored.
Want to play again, Howard?
From Victory Games.
Well, I've been on and off diet since the age of 14, until I found something that stops me from craving all those foods I know I shouldn't have. Why, Dexatrim even helps keep me away from chocolate chip ice cream. And I love chocolate chip ice cream. But you know what I love even more? Looking in the mirror and seeing the new me.
Dexatrim people. They're living proof that Dexatrim works.
Welcome back to the show. We were just saying, I think Jerry Lewis had a real good time. This was
I had a
fun.
good time.
Philosophical, funny. He was interviewing you. You were...
I just want to know why his hair is so shiny. And I forgot to ask him. Next time I'm going to ask him.
Yes, you ask him.
I will.
Meantime, there are a few people who want to ask you
Okay.
some questions.
Hello, you're on there.
Hi, Doctor.
Hope you enjoy that